All right, guys, the time is now for a showdown between the Dark Elves, who are going to be led by Big Mama's house, the Warriors of Chaos, who are going to be led by the Warp Chicken. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So over here, guys, we do have a very mobile Dark Elf force. In total, we do have 3 groups of the Dark Riders with the repeater crossbows. So these guys are very good against the Warriors of Chaos. They're great at taking out Chosen. If they have a Dragon Ogre Shaggots or Kolek, they can take them apart. Just very, very solid in this matchup. There's tons of good targets for them. They can also do a little bit of counter skirmishing against Marauder Horsemasters because, again, they do a better range at 115. So always a pretty safe pick. Now, you have to be careful using them because of Hounds and Chaos Knights and things like that. So if you are going to go with very Dark Rider play in the Chaos matchup, I highly recommend you bring some supporting cav units. So we have Slaanesha's Harvesters and we have Dark Riders. Now, the only reason I have these Dark Riders, well, there's 2 reasons. Number 1 is to deal with skirmishing. So if he has Marauder Horsemasters or throwing axes, I can chase them down. But number 2, to deal with Hounds. So if he does have Poison Hounds, I want to have something to kind of counter them to allow my Dark Riders to do their job to their full extent. So we have Slaanesha's Harvesters. We have the Dark Riders. On top of that, we do have Cold One Knights. So Cold One Knights, always nice to have like a one of, just kind of keep them behind your infantry. If something big and large comes in, you can countercharge them. And they also have okay armor piercing, so if they have to fight armored infantry, at least they can do a little bit of damage with those nasty Velociraptor teeth. And for our Lord, we do have Marathi. I think Marathi is one of the better picks in this matchup. She does have a Soul Stealer. She has the Doom Bolt, which actually comes from a wand, so it's not a bound spell. Here it's the Wand of Caridon, I think it's called. We have Melkos against like Chaos Knights and Heavy Infantry, and just also gives us some slow utility. But why Marathi is so good is because she has the Heartrender and the Dark Sword. So this is an item that gives -9 melee defense and -9 melee attack. And on top of that, she has an ability called the Enchanting Beauty. So in total, you're going to be giving your opponent -18 melee attack, which is insane. Like, that just makes Chosen, like, in terms of their combat stats, like, that puts them down to, like just an insanely low amount, which is very, very cost effective. And she has anti-large and armor piercing, so she's not going to win in duels against, lords that the Warriors of Chaos have, although she can beat Warp Chicken for sure. So number 1, she can harass Kolek, do good damage against him with rear charges, and she's also a counter to Warp Chicken because she does have anti-large and AP. She can chase him down. Very, very solid stuff. So, rest of my army, we have 2 groups of Harganeth Executioners. We have the Helibroni, the chillest of the Dread Spears in all of the realms, 2 Dread Spears on the flanks, and we also have the Sisters of Singing Doom for Rampage, and they also cause terror. So, Chosen, Chaos Infantry are not immune to psychology, so having these guys is also quite helpful too. For my opponent's army, he does have 2 groups of the Marauder Horsemen. For his main army, very, I would say, elite stuff. Chosen, Mirror Guard, Chosen with Great Weapons. Yeah, so a pretty substantial army. 2 groups of Chosen with Great Weapons, Chaos Warriors on the flanks, some Hounds. He does also have a Sartorial, 2 groups of Aspiring Champions, and an Exalted Hero. Now, as far as his spells go, he does have the Final Transmutation, Plague of Rust, which is pretty cool. So, guys, let's get this show on the road. A little bit of skirmishing out of the gates. The repeater crossbow is able to get some really, really solid fire and just melt a couple of those Marauder Horsemasters, which is very nice. But he does give it back to me pretty good with some of the spears, so I would say it was a bit of an even trade. Both of us definitely took some casualties, especially considering it was a 3v2. In the meantime, his forces are going to be advancing. I'm going to be taking some pot shots at the Chosen. He does have an Exalted Hero pushing forward as well. You don't see him too much on foot, but we'll definitely see what he does this game. So I get some really good shots in here, melts a couple of these Chosen with Great Weapons. I think we get a couple model kills here. Let's go. Yeah, we do actually take them. But look at that damage. I mean, if I were allowed to sit unimpeded for another like 30 seconds or so, you could bring those guys down so quick. So in the meantime, just flying overhead with Marathi, trying to protect my missile units. And the rest of my forces are just kind of squaring up in the hill, the Dark Riders and other troops in position. Now, a very good flank for my opponent. He comes in with Chaos Boarhounds. It's a really good angle. My defensive units were out of position. Now, you should always have them behind your Dark Rider. So what I do is, I actually have a pretty good pocket here. So I pull back through my own formation, because I had these supporting troops. I really don't take any casualties, and the Hounds are going to be chewed up now by the Slaanesha's Harvesters and these other supporting elements which are coming in. The Harvester is very, very good. Soul Stealer, Mark of Pain, both very good in this matchup. You can use it against like the Chosen if you want. Definitely brings quite a bit to the table. Now, in the main fight, it looks like there was going to be a Final Transmutation going down. He does hit Marathi, which definitely is very good. He hits the Dread Spears, the Helibroni, hits a lot of my troops, so very, very well played there. But we do mulch the Hounds, which is a very good start. Now, we have a fight. Helibroni, very, very good at holding. They have anti-large, they have poison. We actually are doing a lot of damage against that Exalted Hero. And our other infantry are going to be pouring in as well. So the Harganeth Executioners saturating with these Sisters here. And Sisters of Singing Doom, do they actually have poison? I know they have the Rampage, but yeah, I think they're probably just going to have that Rampage here. So the Chosen are now out of control, but they're out of control in their environment. I'm sure Korn approves of that. We do also have a Soul Stealer going down, so we get a fat Soul Stealer right here on top of these Marauder Horsemen, which is nice. And the Cold One Knights get a nice little charge against a Mirror Guard here, just trying to provide some support. But we have really good Overwatch as well. So now that we've secured our back line, the Dark Riders with the repeater crossbows are just going to sit here and start taking pot shots. Rathi's looking for an opportunity to strike. I think we're going to be going after the Warp Chicken, but we are going to be using the Wand of Caridon, or whatever it's called, on the Exalted Hero, and we're going in for the Alpha Strike. So Rathi coming in hot, definitely going to be doing some good work here. She is very, very powerful duelist against like hero units. So the Wand's going to do a ton of burst damage. The Exalted Hero is in the wrong neighborhood. He gets blasted right in the dome piece, gets taken out 757 HP, -20, just absolutely dumpstered by Marathi. And that is why she is such a damn good pick. Marathi is so powerful. Anyways, over here, the Dark Riders in the back are just kind of circling. He is flanking me with some Chaos Warriors, but it's not a big deal. I can easily outrun those guys. And we do also have some Dark Riders, as well as the Slanesh's Harvesters fighting the Warp Chicken, which isn't the best. I was actually chasing down the Marauder Horsemasters, but he was able to intercept me with the Warp Chicken. Scroll of Power going down to give him that negative 90 seconds to his ability recharge, so he's probably going to have another final transmutation. But I'm very happy with this position. I can just sit the Dark Riders here, pick off some of these Marauder Horsemasters, and the Cold One Knights do swoop down and around, and they're going to be just lancing some of this KFC. So the KFC Lord, definitely in the wrong neighborhood a little bit. He's going to be getting some business here. A ton of anti-large, a ton of armor piercing, but he's coming in with that drumstick and that slam dunk space jam, and he's going to do some pretty good work against groups there. The Marauder Horsemaster is still providing some support, doing okay damage against Slanesh's Harvesters, but over here, yeah, it's a bit of a pit fight. 38 Harganeth Executioners, Dread Spears doing well, another Soul Stealer going down, which will help me take that matchup. But right here, 74 Harganeth just massacring the Aspiring Champions. The Chosen with Great Opens kind of get picked apart pretty quick. And check this out. So we're going to take a look at the stat line of some of these Chaos Infantry here. So the Aspiring Champs down to 28 melee attack. Let's take a look at some of the more. Does he have any other ones here? Chaos Warriors. So the Chaos Warriors down to 18 melee attack, which is like almost like Bretonnia peasant level. So damn, that is such a good buff. So right there, we're able to buff those guys. We're collapsing in. The Aspiring Champions holding on a little bit longer, providing that encouragement. But in the back, you can see the Dark Riders with repeater crossbows are pretty much shrekking these Horsemasters. And now it's time for the Alpha Strike. We do have the big Warp Chicken kind of surrounded here, and we're going to be going after him with Marathi. Now, he can't run. He has 60 speed. Marathi's like 105. And the Harganeth Executioners just massacred those Chaos Warriors without the support of the Chosen. And these other Chosen right here are doing a pretty good job. He's actually able to partially win this engagement because of the Chosen. But again, that Overwatch fire coming in from the repeater crossbows has just been so valuable at picking those guys apart. Now the Warp Chicken being attacked by Cold One Knights, and Marathi's kind of lurking somewhere. I think I went over there to cast like a Melkos on top of his Chaos Warriors. Yeah, you can see the other Harganeth Executioner is going to be piling in, and that's pretty much it for now. Warp Chicken doing his best to fight, and doing what he can with his tentacle drumstick, but alas, Marathi's going to be giving him the business. So well played to my opponent. It was a fast, explosive game on both sides, but stabilizing the repeater crossbows was definitely very important. From there, we were able to have relative dominance in regards to picking our targets. These Chosen with Great Opens just got neutered basically from that firepower. The Soul Stealers also, just really, really good. And yeah, I mean, I really think that Marathi was MVP there. She was able to snipe out that Exalted Hero so quick. I mean, that was like 1,000 gold just gone in a matter of seconds from the Wand, as well as an Alpha Strike, and timing that with the Soul Stealer. So that was pretty good. For my opponent's army, I definitely liked it. I think having a combination of AP as well as shielded infantry is pretty good against Dark Elves. The Marauder Horsemasters, I think, are a good pick as well for counter skirmishing because they can actually beat the Dark Riders in melee. So let me go ahead and think about this right here. So if I had to kind of change his build up, Sarthorio is a really good choice. Final Transmutation is very powerful. I would cut the Exalted Hero. I would probably cut the Aspiring Champions in this matchup. That's going to give you like almost another 2,000 gold to work with there. The infantry build is actually fine with the Chosen. From there, you can get Marauder Horsemasters. I like them. Maybe add one more of those. That's going to give you a lot of flank pressure, and maybe try and... Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, you could go with some Chaos Knights. You could go with more Marauders to kind of swarm around the flanks. Marauders actually wouldn't be bad, like mixing in a couple of those. But I really think cutting the Exalted Hero and the two champs would be a really, really good start to changing up this build. So anyways, guys, it was a relatively quick game. So we're going to be jumping over to another one. Definitely a very fun game where we use Mammoths. So you guys haven't seen Mammoths in some time, so stay tuned for that. It should be fun. Again, very well played to unreal expectations. Hopefully we see you again on the ladder soon. And we'll see you guys in game 2. All right, guys, and now we're back with Game 2, which is going to feature a showdown between Norska, led by Throg, the Troll King, and the Greenskins, who are going to be led by a Night Goblin Warboss. And yes, you guys are not hallucinating. That is indeed 2 Mammoths. So we have the Soul Crusher, as well as I think it's just like a standard War Mammoth. And I haven't used these guys in, man, probably like 4 or 5 months. So definitely quite hyped to show you guys this game. It was quite a bit of fun. Let's jump right into it. So as far as the army goes, here in the front line, we have 2 Marauder Champions. And Marauder Champions, I think, are probably the best infantry pick against the Greenskins. Really good against sustained combat. They win against pretty much everything except Black Orcs, so I think that's a pretty good gambit. Black Orcs do put a bit of a pounding on them, but if you are supporting them with like MAMMOTHS or Famir, as I usually do, I feel like they might do okay. On top of that, we do have 3 groups of standard Marauders, which are just going to be giving us some meat to our potatoes, or potatoes to our meat. I guess the Mammoths would be the meat. They'd potatoes. I don't really know. So we have the Marauders here. On top of that, we do have a Famir Balefiend with fire. So he's going to be using the Flaming Sword of Ruin, Fireball on Lords and Heroes, and the Cascading Fire Cloak to buff up the defensive stats of the Mammoth. We got Throg the Troll King, definitely the best pick here in this matchup. And that is it for our main force. On top of that, we do have a couple groups of Norscan Ice Wolves, which are really good in this matchup at hunting down goblins, dealing with Spider Riders. Just a really, really good pick. They have high mass, they hit hard, and they have Frostbite, which is one of the best mechanics in the game. So for my opponent, he's got Death's Creepers. He does have Goblins, a couple groups of Archers, so the Rustiers as well as Night Goblin Archers. Black Orcs are going to be a little bit problematic, but I'm really hoping that the Mammoths can give him the business. He does have Biggins in the back, so anti-large, going to be very good against Mammoths as well. He's got Skulkers and Forest Goblin Spider Riders and Moon Howler. So very solid army, Night Goblins as well as the Night Goblin Warboss, but I think he actually forgot the Tormentor Sword, so that's definitely a bit of a mistake there. I mean, that's a must bring. There's no reason or justification not to bring the Tormentor Sword, so he might have forgotten that this game. So guys, the Mammoths are going to be advancing right now. The Hounds, the Doggos up in the hills are just kind of looking for opportunities to get into the cookie jar. The Death's Creepers are going to intercept here. And the other ones are pretty much going to have free range. We'll do a little bit of fast forward as there is some posturing here. The Hounds getting forced back. I didn't want to commit too heavily to that forest, so we're just squaring up to our opponent right now. The Mammoths are foaming at the mouth here, ready to engage. And the Soul Crusher are going to be taking an opening salvo from Night Goblin Archers. Now, he does have a lot of, yeah, look at all the harass units. He's probably going to be swarming the Marauders here, which is going to be pretty scary. So I do countercharge with the Marauders, and they're going to be engaging with them. And the Norscan Doggos are going to be engaging as well. Now, this isn't a bad engagement. I think I'm going to come out ahead here. I'm probably going to kill those two units at very, very little loss. Now, the Soul Crusher, as usual, basically just a sponge for damage. So it's taking a ton of damage from these Goblin Archers. And the Mammoths have engaged. So let's give you guys what you came for. The Mammoths just crushing Goblins. You guys ready for this? Oh, okay. Hopefully you get some Goblins here. Oh yeah, there you go. All right, there's a horde of goblins being flattened. So those goblins do get flattened by the Mammoth, which is very cool. Frog piling in as well and just going to start clubbing some of the Rustiers, and the other Mammoth is going to be pushing through. So I knew I had to get into the back line because of all these units. So the Mammoth charging into Black Orcs, doing some okay damage. Fight or Die has been popped. The Wah also popped from the Greenskins. And the Marauders, Flaming Sword of Ruin, all this stuff going down, and you can see them getting down and dirty, but Itchy Nuisance, very, very good stuff for my opponent. I was like, I need to get these Archers. The Rustiers are basically the only thing that can really nuke the War Mammoth with all the other support, of course. Norscan Ice Doggos do come in the back, and we get a very, very good and tasty engagement here. So the Norscan Ice Doggos actually going to be pawing these goblins in the face. Look at that. Oh, that pimp paw just right in the face. And also the War Mammoth or the Soul Crusher. Oh, so cool looking. I mean, Mammoth's got to be some of the coolest models Creative Assembly's done. We do get a bit of a rout in the back line. Skulkers coming in, going to be dropping Smoke Bomb. The main infantry fight going very badly. Black Orcs giving me the business. Throg here is going to be fighting the Night Goblin Warboss in just the fight of fights. Unfortunately, my other Mammoth a little bit inundated here. You can see the Night Goblins and Biggins and other troops harassing. But that fight over on the flank did actually go really well. So we were able to break off the Moon Howlers as well as the other units. And the Norscan Doggos are pretty much free, but Black Orcs are going to be tough to take down. That's something a little bit concerned about. Mammoths are getting a little worn down. Soul Crusher at about 60%. The other Mammoth being dropped very quickly by this Focus Fire from the Night Goblin Archers. And beautiful Skulker play. So he's able to pin me down with Skulkers. I don't know if he used his Smoke Bomb yet, but regardless, the War Mammoths are having a lot of trouble here. I do force some Hounds into the back line, but very good defensive play from my opponent. He's able to get the Forest Goblin Spider Riders to countercharge the Hounds and freeze up his Archers. So another thing is the infantry fight's not going too great. Black Orcs have taken some damage in the Biggins and other stuff like that, but the Mammoths just keep kind of getting pinned and dragged. This one was taking a lot of damage. I was like, I'm going to go see if I can win this fight and get some freebies against these Biggins here. But yeah, I just like don't have enough pressure on all of his stuff. And you can see the bounce of power starting to slip a little bit. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to reset. I need to do a bit of a tactical retreat, get the Mammoths. Let's go hide in the trees a little bit. Throg, of course, doing a very solid club on that Night Goblin Warboss. The Itchy Nuisance just non-stop on top of my forces here. You can also see that the Famir Balefiend is getting hit with that as well. So my infantry corps is starting to crumble a little bit, doing pretty well against goblins and those troops, but the Black Orcs in very, very good shape, and he just has so much stuff. These Night Goblins are in good shape here, and his other archers, I think, are doing okay, but we do come over here. The Mammoths basically just trying to isolate and goon whatever they can. Now, it might have been a bit of a mistake, but here I was just kind of losing the battle. I was like, I need a change of scenery. I need to go on vacation. I need to find something else out. So the Mammoths come over here. We're trying to work on the Biggins, but really it's like, I don't know, it can't even, I mean, yes, Biggins are anti-large specials, but the Mammoth can't even, like, route these guys off. I feel like it's just, hasn't been doing a whole lot. The what's it called? Forest Goblin Spider Riders also applying poison, which is very, very nice, especially considering how big of a target that is, so it's going to affect the stats quite a bit. But yeah, the Mammoth's just trying to win over here in these fights, not doing terribly well. I do pop the Enrage, which gives him 44% ward save, and we do actually break off the Forest Goblin Spider Riders with the Terror Route, but the Orc Biggins are standing really firm in the pocket. The initial charge didn't do much to the Black Orcs, and just his sheer numbers was able to overwhelm the Mammoth, so it's basically just like hordes of hordes of small creatures dragging down the mammoth. Very, very fun prehistoric stuff going on here. So the Winter Tooth Crown has gone down, making him unbreakable with Throg. But we do get some decent terror routes, and this is definitely the best value I've gotten from the mammoth so far. It's kind of hiding him in the trees, and you know, I know there is a penalty for I think big units fighting in trees, but I was like, I can't be in the open taking this fire from the goblins. But regardless, I probably should have just stayed in the open. But yeah, I think mammoths are one of those units that, I don't know, I've been trying to make them work, and I just find that they do, like, I can't, unless your opponent just goes like with like a meaty like infantry army and doesn't have like missiles, like where would they be good? Maybe against Chaos they might have a bit of a niche, like bringing 1. I mean, 2 is overkill. I deserve that. I was kind of memeing around a little bit and trying to get a fun replay for you guys, but 48 kills on the first mammoth. So I guess if you wanted to incorporate the mammoth and make it a little bit better, you would cut the second mammoth, you'd get Famir and some more, 1 Famir and more supporting infantry. I think that would have been way better. But yeah, I think mammoths are one of those units that might need a little bit of help compared to like other big monsters. I just feel like they suck. Like I can't make them work against like good players, like people who are equal or greater skill. You know, it just feels like they always just get outplayed and they never generate value. Whereas like a Shaggoth or even like Dark Elf Hydras and stuff like that are way better than the Mammoths in my opinion. But I mean, they're a really fun unit on paper. They serve a cool role, right? Just like shrekking hordes of like infantry. They should be really good against greenskins. But most greenskin players are going to have Morgrubs, they're going to have Death Creepers, they're going to have Goblin Archers, they're going to have tons of pressure. After they get from Wurzog will pin them down, and they're just going to die in a matter of like 30 seconds. So, but I'd love to kind of have a discourse with you guys in the comment section. And again, my apologies if I don't respond to as many comments as I used to. I do have a bit of a hand problem, as you guys know, and typing's actually quite painful. So I usually, will try my best to respond to a couple, but it is a little bit taxing for sure. But yeah, I'd love to see your guys' thoughts, where you've had success with the Mammoths, and if you've had like matchups in which you feel they're good, let me know, and maybe I'll give it a try and grab some guys who are definitely equal matchups. So again, very well played. My opponent, Vicious Atsuma. Look forward to running into you again on ladder, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this 2-for-1. So guys, we will see you all next time. Take care.